Hey everybody, welcome into Farm Cooking with Nan. Today we're going to be making something that I've made probably 40 years or more. I called it Mexican cornbread, but I don't know if that's really what it really is. I've got about 1.5 pounds of meat right there. Sorry. I'm getting my onions where I've chopped them over here. That's one large onion. I'm going to get the rest of it. Get that down in there, and we're going to brown up this meat. Add a few things to it, okay? I'm going to put some of my homemade taco seasoning in there. The recipe, if you're wanting it, is on my page, or you can go up to the top of your screen, click on your search bar, type in Farm Cooking with Nan homemade taco seasoning, and get the recipe there. Put about 3, I guess it's about 3 level tablespoons in that. I'm making a mess. Remember that my hamburger meat is always real dry. I'm saying that because we don't have a lot of fat in it, is what I'm trying to say. It's very lean. So we're going to get this all cooked up and make sure those onions are nice and sauteed. And we'll get right back. Okay, I've turned my eye off. I'm putting in 1 10-ounce can of Rotel tomatoes with chilies. Take that off the eye just a little bit, okay? Let that cool down. I'm going to drain just a little bit out of my can of corn. I didn't completely drain it, but I'm going to put some just stir that up a little bit. You can see I probably drained about 1/2 can. Now I'm going to use that corn in a soup that I'm making to go with this, okay? So I'm not going to waste a thing. You know how I am. So let's get something else going. Okay, let's get some cornbread going so that we can put our mixture into it, okay? I've got the oven preheating on 400. I've got 2 cups of Martha White self-rising cornmeal hot rise mix right here. I'm going to put 1 3/4 cup of buttermilk. 1 3/4 cup. I'm going to put 1/4 cup of cooking oil, just vegetable oil. Now listen, if you all don't want to make cornbread like this, and you use the little Jiffy boxes, 2 boxes will probably do this, okay? Now, let's see, I'm going to put in 1 egg. Okay, next I'm gonna grab out of my refrigerator, I'm gonna grab some Crisco, solid Crisco. Okay, let's get it. Put it right in the back of the drawer so it's harder to get out. And I'm gonna put just a big old spoonful of this in my pan right here. Got a big old deep iron skillet here. I'm gonna put big old spoonful in here so that I can grease up my pan. And I'd say that's a little more than one spoonful, isn't it? Okay, I'm gonna pop that in the oven while my oven is heating. Let me pop it in there. Okay, now we're going to stir this up, okay? And I'm going to tell you, if you don't have Martha White or White Lily or something like that, cornbread mix like this, you can use 2 Jiffy, boxes of 2 Jiffy. You're gonna, if you don't have an iron skillet, I'm gonna pray for you. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't have an iron skillet, then use a 9x13 baking dish. You can do it in that too. Or in a, you know, got a metal pan or whatever. Now, we're going to let that set for just a minute or two before we mix it up. I like to give my pan time to get hot in the oven. And when it gets good and hot and that grease is melted, I'll take out the pan and I'll swish it around to coat the whole inside of the pan. And I will pour whatever's a little bit left in this, okay? So let's come back whenever we're ready to finish it up. Okay, I think my Crisco is melted in my pan. Yes, it is. Hang on a minute, let me grab another thing. That's getting a little bit hot and heavy. Okay, I've got some things sitting over here I'm going to have to move a little bit, okay? So let me go ahead and stir this up. I'm going to put some salt and pepper on my, I'll stir up that Crisco that I put in there. Now, I don't want that real hot thing on my, so I'm going to set that on there. You ever have days when you just feel like you're tired? My get up and go has run off and left today. Okay, I'm going to pour about half of my batter into this. Now, I'm going to take, and I might not use all this. I was going to tell y'all, I did use the half of the, I did use half of the, the whole corn, the whole thing of corn. I used it. And I might not use all this because, like I said, I'm making a soup too. I don't measure whenever I make this, and it has been a few years. It's just fall weather. It's just making me want some good Mexican cornbread. So I used about, I'd say what you need to use is about a pound of ground beef. I'll save this and put it in my soup. Would that be good? Okay. Now, I'm gonna put a little salt and a little pepper, if I can get a hold of my salt and pepper here, on top. There's not much salt in that taco seasoning, you know, you don't get a whole lot out of that, so I'm gonna put some salt in there. I don't want it to be drab. Put some pepper, about a half teaspoon of pepper. Now, I'm gonna go over again before I put the rest of this on top. I put in 1 can. Now this was 1.5 pounds of meat, so cut that down to 1 pound, okay? Unless you're gonna make soup too. What's good with this right here is a wonderful soup beans, big old pot of soup beans is what I normally fix. But I thought, well, I was making that soup and I thought, well, I need to make some cornbread to go with it. And then it hit me. Oh, you've been wanting some Mexican cornbread. So, okay. Have to clean up my mess over here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to get this in the oven. Whoa, I forgot something. Well, I can finish it up. What I normally did was, before I put the top on there, I normally put my cheese on. But I'll wait till it finishes and then I'll put my cheese on top, okay? I'll wait till it finishes baking. Right close to the end, and then I'll, ooh, I'm telling you, my strength is just not here today. I need to use both hands. Okay, we'll see you back in a little while. It's been an hour at 400 degrees. Look at that. Now, I'm leaving my oven on just a minute because I'm going to put my cheese on there. I might not even need to pop it back in the oven because that will, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Some days this might melt without me even putting it back into the oven for a minute or two. But when you're making yours, like I said, it's been a few years since I've made it, but I used to make it all the time. But you can put a little bit of cheese on top of your meat and then put your top batter on. Or you can not. You can do it like this. I'd say I probably put in about I'll go ahead and put the whole thing in. About 6 to 8 ounces of cheese. I just use Fiesta blend. I'm going to take my scissors and cut my thing down through here. Might use a drab or two as a dessert for my little puppies. They like to have just a bite of cheese every now and then. I guess I am going to pop it back in just for a few minutes and let that melt, okay? I might even pop it on broil just for a few seconds and let it go ahead and cook. Hang on a minute. You know when you watch my videos, you see real, don't you? I don't hide nothing. I don't hide nothing. Let me get that. I'll be back. Okay. Let's just got it out of the oven. Left it in there a couple of minutes. slide back through there and make sure I got it all the way through. Okay. Let's see if I can get I had to get a plate instead of my screen is crooked. Oh, I'm sorry about that. This is probably going to come out pretty hot. Boys, no, you can't eat right now. I'll just grab the back of a spoon. Back of a serving fork. Whew. Oh my. It looks so good and it smells so good. Boy, that's hot. That's not going on these lips of mine. That's all I got to say. I'm going to get a picture. Look how good this looks. And it tastes delicious. I know it's going to because it used to be a favorite of mine. I'm going to get me a little bite. I baked it at 400 for an hour. But see, if you're using Jiffy and a smaller pan or whatever, you have to regulate your own. Oh, mercy. Let me tell you something. I could have a piece of that and a drink, big old glass of milk. I don't drink milk, but I'm just going to say a big old glass of milk would be good for those people that love milk. And I could have that and just a Coke and just sit down and be in hog heaven. But we're going to have some soup to eat with it. I've got my soup on in the crock pot. If that don't get finished in time, this is what we're going to be having. So I hope you all have had a blessed day. I hope you get to make you some of this. Rowdy's hoping for a little crumb to fall in the floor. He's been over here working on the cheese. I gave him the cheese. The cheese, so they're having a good time. But just want y'all to know, I'm going to go over everything that I put in this. I'm going to change the measurements a little bit for you because I had some leftover meat and everything. So this is what I'm going to say. And sometimes I change the recipe. It just depends on what I've got, what I feel like that day or whatever. But I fried I fried 1.5 pounds, but fry 1 pound of your ground, probably 80-20, or if you don't have that, that's okay. Whatever you have, hamburger meat. Throw you about a big old onion in there chopped up, and then you could throw you in some garlic. You can throw you in some green bell peppers. I almost put them in, but sometimes they bother my husband's stomach, so I left them out today. But I love to throw peppers and onions and garlic and things like that in there. I just made a basic one because I'm going to be sharing this with other people that I know won't eat the peppers and stuff. So I fried my hamburger meat with my onions in there. When they were translucent, then I put in a whole can, but you won't be using a whole can of corn because if you cut your recipe down to 1 pound of hamburger meat, you'll just need about 1/2 can of corn. You need 1 can of Rotel tomatoes and chilies. You need 1 packet of taco seasoning, or go over and make the taco seasoning that I have on my page, and that right there will get you going. That'll be all your innards, as I say, all the inside. And then make up your cornbread, however you make your cornbread at home. Make up your cornbread. If it's Jiffy mix, if it's regular mix like I do, go ahead and make that up. And then put some oil in your pan or some Crisco or whatever. Put it in the oven. Let it heat up while you're making up your cornbread. And then when it gets hot, bring it out, swish it around in your pan, pour about half your batter in the bottom, and then put your meat mixture on it. And then at that point, I usually sprinkle cheese around on that meat mixture, but I got the cart ahead of the horse. But sprinkle your meat mixture around on there and your cheese, and then put the rest of your cornbread batter on top and bake it at 400 until it's golden brown. You know, like I said, I baked mine an hour because my pan is nice and deep that I baked it in. If you bake it in a shallower, like a baking dish, you don't say, I don't have cast iron, then bake it in a regular baking dish, okay? Well, I'm going to go. I want you to know how much I love y'all, how much I appreciate you watching my videos and sharing them and passing on things to your family. I appreciate you sharing it with your family. That's what keeps me going, is knowing that it's going out to people. But I want you to know how much the Lord loves you. I just don't even know what to say. He's watching over us, taking care of us, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Pray for one another. Pray and stock your pantries. Stock your pantries. I'm going to keep saying that till y'all are tired of hearing it. But stock your pantries, okay? And just pray and ask the Lord to show you what to do. I love yous, and I know the Lord loves you more, so we'll see you next time, God willing. Bye-bye.